Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Shri Krishna, Sab Vaishnav Uncle Sadar Supreme Jai Shri Krishna. Today is day 113 and Varta 90, the story of one Kunnabhi Patel from a small village in Gujarat, Bhav Prakash. He is a devotee of Tamasi disposition. In the eternal Leela, his name is Varta, who manifests from Gunachud and is thus a form of her divine loving sentiment. Part 1. Sri Gosaiji had gone to Gujarat, and that was when this Kunnabhi Patel caught sight of him. He requested Sri Gosaiji to accept him into his shelter. Sri Gosaiji told him to bathe and then return. When he had done so, he again beseeched Sri Gosaiji to grace him with initiation with the Lord's name. Sri Gosaiji did so, and thereafter, when Patelji had fasted for a day, he also blessed him with the Brahma Sambandh initiation. Patel then made a donation to Sri Gosaiji, who then prepared offerings for the Lord. When the appropriate amount of time had passed, he received back the offerings as prasad, gave the Lord water to rinse his mouth, and a cloth to dry it afterwards. Sri Gosaiji then partook of the Mahaprasad. When he had finished, he also rinsed his mouth, partook of pan leaf prasad, and went to sit on his cushions in the Baitak. Then all the servants partook of their prasad, along with Kunnabhi Patel. As soon as he partook of the prasad, he was blessed with insight into the ways of the path of grace, and took the principles into his heart. Sri Gosaiji began a reading of Sri Acharyaji's Sri Subodhanaji, and the Kunnabhi Patel listened. Sri Gosaiji spent several days in this village in this way. He then left for Dwarka and had the holy site of Sri Ranchorlalji. He stayed there for some days and then took his leave from his lord and returned to Gokul, where he had the holy site of Sri Navanit Priyaji. Part 2. Near Patel's village there was another larger village where there was a sizable Vaishnav community. They would get together to discuss and sing about the Lord. There was one very accomplished Vaishnava who was in charge of the services. Patel used to go to see him. He would go after offering his Thakurji Arti and rest. He would only reach there quite late in the night. The Vaishnavas would greet each other with the Lord's name before sitting down to start discussing the Lord's pastimes. Patel stayed only a few hours of night, until only a few hours of night remained, and then would take his leave of the Vaishnavas by greeting them all with the Lord's name. Then he walked home to start his Sri Thakurji Seva. Many days passed like this. On one Ekadashi day, Patel started out after completing his Sri Thakurji Seva. He lost his way in the dark, and it began to rain. He came to a lake surrounded by trees. A fiendish spirit came down from one of the trees and stood before him. Patel asked him who he was and why he was standing on the path. He said, "I am a demonic spirit, and I am very hungry. I want to go devour you." Patel replied, "Today is the auspicious 11th day of the month, and I am going to the all-night gathering to sing the Lord's praises. In the morning I shall return by this path. You may eat me then." The fiend said, "I do not believe you. Why would you come back along this path? Why would you give yourself up to death in my mouth?" Patel replied, "Because I have given my word. I shall come back in the morning and call out to you. Then you may happily devour me." The fiend said, "Okay, I believe you. Don't be late." The fiend left with Patel's promise. Patel proceeded to Vaishnava Satsang. They all listened to the Lord's pastimes and sang his praises with great joy. The Kunnabhi Patel was thinking, "Well, tomorrow that demon is going to eat me. That has been decided. Therefore I should chant the Lord's name as much as possible today." With this in mind, he proceeded to blissfully enjoy the stories of the pastimes of the Lord. The whole night passed in this way. In the morning he said Jai Shri Krishna to all the other Vaishnavas and took his leave. He came back to that same lake close to where the demon resided. He called out, "O great demon, come out!" He called him like this 5 times and added, "Quickly come out now and eat me up." The fiend said nothing. He thought to himself, "Look at him. He came here to die. He escaped from death by me the first time and came back here to make his promise come true. He is truly a man of God, a great devotee. He came here just to make his promise come true. He is not afraid of death. I shall certainly not devour such a devotee." He looked at the Vaishnava and then turned round and departed. Then Kunnabhi repeated, "O friend, O fiend, come quickly and eat me. I am getting late for my seva to the Lord." The demon appeared in front of him, making himself into a very large frame. Kunnabhi again requested him to get on with eating him. The fiend said, "I no longer wish to eat you. You are a devoted Vaishnava who belongs to the Lord. You speak the truth. For the sake of keeping to the principles of your path, you had no fear of death. Therefore I need one thing from you. Please give it to me." Saying this, the fiend fell at that Kunnabhi Patel's feet. Bhav Prakash. The moral of this story is that even the god of retribution is afraid of those who have surrendered to Sri Acharyaji and his teachings. What can a mere ghost or fiend do to them? The Lord's own people are always fearless. They are truly great. All the 3 worlds bow down to them. Surdasi has written, The Lord's own people are truly great masters. Even kings, great sages and wise yogis feel humbled to stand before them. They sit like kings on the throne of firm faith. Their pure, godly qualities are like the incomparably lovely umbrella above their heads. They rule with perfect detachment. Their populace is always inspired and enthused. Lust, anger, greed and infatuation, now given up in favour of the Lord, are transformed from thieves of the heart to generous philanthropists. Wisdom has incarnated as very special door guards. No one can get a chance to bypass them. Selfish greed and lust stay far, far away. Liberation and dharma, the righteous way personified, bow down low to them. The 8 supernatural powers and the 9 treasures stand at their door with hands folded in respect. The staff-bearer is a firm renunciate who repels pleasure-seekers. Their greatest interest is their love for the Lord's lotus feet. That is their only enjoyment. The minister of bare knowledge does not get a look in and has to speak with hesitation. Neither Maya's delusional power nor contrary time can ever rule these devotees who truly follow the ways of self-dedication. The poet Suradas now sings, to have been granted this human birth should be known as the grace of the Guru. Realize these qualities to be the character and form of accomplished Vaishnavas. Then Kunnabhi Patel asked the Veen to state his demand. He replied, please give me the merit that you gained from tonight's gathering. By this I shall be granted upliftment. I shall escape from this demonic body. Patel replied, I will not give you such a reward. Just eat me up if you will. The demon again requested, please give me half of it then. Patel refused. The demon again begged for the merit arising from just 10 minutes of the satsang, and Patel still refused. He even refused to give him the merit for only half of that time. Bhav Prakash. A doubt arises here. In the path of grace, all actions should be performed with absolutely no desire for result. Why then did the Vaishnava refuse to give the reward from even a minute of the satsang? The answer here given is that the result of singing the Lord's praises is purely divine and leads to the direct experience of the Lord, who upholds the Sri Giriraj mountain. The Lord then comes to reside in the devotee's heart, and Patel did not want to grant such a reward to this demon, who was not, after all, a divine soul. Part 2 continued. The fiend again asked, O Vaishnava, then at least give me the merit arising from just 5 beats of your sung praises. At that very moment a voice sounded from the heavens, O Vaishnava, you are one of the Lord's own people. Be merciful and grant this demonic being this last request, then his destiny will be purified. He has come to recognize the true form of a Vaishnava devotee. Patel then took some water from the lake and put it into the palm of the fiend's hand. He said, I hereby give you the merit arising from 5 beats of our sung praises. Even as he said this, the demon left his body, and was liberated from continuance in such a womb. A heavenly chariot came down for him, and he attained a beautiful divine body. He then walked around Patel out of respect and fell at his feet. He mounted the chariot and went off to heaven. Such is the superpower of the accomplished Vaishnava. Patel went home. Bhav Prakash. This Kunnabhi Patel travelled a long way to attend the satsang. Satsang is a very powerful thing. Accomplished Vaishnavas should indeed attend such gatherings so that their righteous path will never be compromised in any way. Thus concludes Varta 90, the story of Kunnabhi Patel Vaishnava, who was the recipient of Sri Gosaiji's great grace. Truly, there is no end to his story. Aaj ke Anand ki jai, sab Vaishnavan ko jai Shri Krishna. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.